The story begins where a man accidentally drifted to mysterious Daughter Island.
Saw that it was full of white-skinned and beautiful beauties. This was the first time they had seen a real man, and the beautiful queen was deeply attracted to this man. Strongly asked him to stay on the island to live, if he wanted. All these beauties married him. The man was too excited for a while, and fainted directly on the ground. The queen looked at his strong chest muscles, and suddenly her heart was overjoyed. Quickly ordered the girls to carry the man back to the tribe, and since then Tom has lived a sweet and happy life on the Island of Daughters, and the queen will bring him a glass of secret medicine every day. As long as he rubs it on his body, he can be powerful. At first, Tom enjoyed the fairy-like days, and after a few months, the queen's skin was getting better and better, as if she was returning to her 18-year-old self, and the evening was the happiest moment for the little sisters. Groups of 3 or 5 rushed into Tom's house, but Tom was no longer able to do it at this time, so he thought of escaping. Just as a pirate ship passed near Daughter Island, Tom hesitated and then boarded the pirate ship and ran away overnight. Hit by a raging storm on the way, their ship eventually ran aground on another isolated island, and the pirates had to go up the mountain to hunt in order to fill their stomachs, only to find a giant footprint on the ground. For a while, everyone was very scared, but Tom said that there was no beast in this world that could compare to a woman, not even a tiger, and he didn't pay attention to it, and after everyone heard it, he left the beast behind. Enjoying the wild fruits of the island happily, they suddenly found a cave in front of them, and the pirates hurried in to check it, and found a nest of fat and strong goats inside. The pirates, who had not eaten meat for a few days, were immediately excited, and there were not only goats but also fresh goat's milk and even sweet and sour cheese in the cave, but Tom found a 300-pound giant axe on the rock. He was so powerful that he couldn't lift it, and the pirates at this time were not aware of the danger, and everyone happily slaughtered the sheep to celebrate this beautiful day, and a fragrant roasted whole sheep was soon baked. They devoured and ate with their mouths full of oil, and after everyone had eaten and drunk, they began to carry supplies, and all the things they could eat were removed by them, and at this moment, a huge black shadow suddenly appeared. I saw an 8-meter-tall giant carrying a wild boar appear in front of me, and instantly scared the group of pirates to the point of urine, and the giant immediately went crazy after discovering that the fat sheep was roasted, and lifted a 2-ton boulder with his bare hands to block the entrance to the cave. If you eat my fat sheep, I'm going to eat you. And now that the pirates have become his delicacy, Tom is trying to negotiate with the giant, hoping to stay and be his slave in exchange for his life. But the giant said that he did not need slaves, but only roasted them into a feast, and the frightened pirates quickly pulled their legs away, and ran slowly, and were swallowed alive by the giant. The 200-pound man was not enough, and Tom, who stuffed his teeth, felt that he could not escape the fate of being eaten, so he took the risk of picking up the wine on the ground and fooled the giant, and he only needed to drink a sip to get 10 times the pleasure. The giant sucked 5 caddies of wine into his mouth in disbelief, and after drinking it, he felt very comfortable, so he asked the pirates to provide more wine, but unfortunately they had already drunk the wine. Tom said that he could make wine, and that he only needed to send someone outside to collect grapes to start making it, but the giant was not stupid at all, saying that he would go out to pick grapes, and the pirates had to stay and work in the cave. After the grapes were picked back, they began to make grape wine, and 10 stinky feet trampled frantically on it, and the giant seemed to smell the sourness, and saliva could not help but flow out. Half a month later, the wine was finally made, and the greedy giant took a pot and poured it directly into his mouth, but his appetite was too big, and he couldn't drink enough, so the robbers could only keep bringing him fine wine.
So after the giant drank enough, he fell asleep unaware of the danger.
And the pirates immediately carried a 3-meter-long log and pierced it into his eyes, and the giant immediately let out an earth-shattering roar. The only one-eyed was blinded by the pirates, and he was going crazy and ready to crush these guys to pieces, and the pirates were so frightened that they ran around, and the giant picked up a 300-pound axe and smashed it to the ground. Unfortunately, it was pitch black in front of him, and he couldn't see it at all, and in the end he couldn't stand the torture, so he could only open the hole to breathe, and the pirates took the opportunity to drive the fat sheep out of the cave, and the painful giant lay on the bed and cried heartbreakingly. The frenzied pirates ransacked his home, but they were soon retribution, and when the ship passed by a witch island, Tom was bewitched by the witch's voice and lost his mind. The pirates had to tie him to a log, and the next day the witch's voice finally died down, but their ship was damaged and unable to sail, and they had to venture to the enchanted witch island. When Tom reached the top of the mountain, he saw an astonishing scene, 2 beasts lying on the ground and drinking water, and he felt that there must be a cat in them, and when he turned around, he found that his brothers were gone. After shouting for a long time, there was no response, and at this moment, a peerless beautiful girl wearing a veil, Tom, was deeply attracted by her prosperous appearance, and the beautiful girl told him that he was a fairy who had been reduced to the mortal world. Living alone on an isolated island, very lonely, I hope Tom can stay and live with her. If she wants, she will gain the ability to live forever. Tom lifts the black veil and looks like a fairy. In order to gain the power of eternal life, he decided to take the risk of staying, but the witch showed an intriguing smile, and could not wait to take the big man into his arms, and then he lived in peace in the cave. Every day he woke up feeling full of strength, and at this moment he really thought that he had met a fairy, and he enjoyed a more comfortable life here than a fairy, and 2 beautiful maids were in charge of taking care of his daily life. However, Tom soon senses that something is wrong, because the entrance to the cave has been blocked with a boulder, and the door is guarded by a maid day and night, and he plans to run away after discovering the witch's secret, so he makes an excuse to go down the mountain to find his good brother. However, the witch will not let him go easily, and has already turned this group of pirates into wild boars in advance. Tom was furious when he learned about it, pulled out his dagger, and prepared to fight the witch, but unfortunately the invulnerable witch did not take him seriously at all. In order to be able to turn his brothers back into human form, Tom had to agree to stay and be her husband and witch, so he was willing to turn the boar back into human form, and the pirates were willing to run away when they saw the beauty. They scramble to stay and live, because they don't experience the pain that Tom has experienced, and Tom can't talk her. She changes a young and strong husband, and Tom is already the 108th of them. The witch's eyes were full of longing for youth, and Tom knew that he could not escape from the palm of her hand, so he could only tearfully take the 500-year-old beauty into his arms, and every night the maids would prepare the secret fairy wine, then pour it into the pool of water to dilute it, and it only takes a few minutes to regain his strength, and the brothers are very jealous when they see him drunk and dreaming of death, so everyone wants to take Tom's place. It's a pity that Tom has been very righteous since he was a child, and this kind of suffering will definitely not affect his good brother, but the good brother thinks that he is ungrateful and only cares about his own well-being, so Tom lost his brother's trust. A man who suffers in silence suffers from the pain. In fact, he wants to escape all the time. The witch destroys the ship in order to dispel his idea of escaping, and at this moment Tom completely turns his face, loudly questioning the witch when she would let herself go. The witch said with a blank face, maybe 10 years, maybe 50 years. Tom burst into tears and fell into despair after hearing this, but he did not give up the chance to be free. So he rebuilt the raft and ran away, and the witch couldn't understand why he insisted on leaving. Staying on the island would not only have a beautiful woman but also gain eternal life, but Tom still didn't understand it and insisted on leaving. In a fit of rage, the witch summoned the lonely emissary and would go to hell if he left the island, so Tom had no choice but to give up the idea of leaving, and he lived on the island for 20 years. In the blink of an eye, the son has grown up, and the witch thinks that he is too old to be useful, so she finds a younger man, and Tom is free and returns to the city. Although he was not yet 40 years old, he looked like an 80-year-old man, and the beautiful hotel lady disliked him and smelled all over him, so she rushed up to chase him out, and the pirate brother 20 years ago kicked his broken bowl directly to the ground. There used to be an opportunity to enjoy glory and wealth, but he didn't cherish it, but now he has fallen to the point of begging, and everyone ridiculed him for taking the blame, and at this moment a beautiful girl in white came. It turned out that she was a fairy messenger who was specifically responsible for recruiting immortals in the mortal world, and she brought a seemingly dilapidated ancient divine bow. As long as anyone who could successfully launch it could get the opportunity to ascend to immortals, the pirates were ready to move after hearing it. Everyone wants to become an immortal and gain powerful mana, but unfortunately no one can activate this artifact, and at this moment, Tom took the divine bow, and everyone ridiculed him for not being able to do anything. A stinky beggar actually wanted to be an immortal. Unexpectedly, he pulled the bowstring back into place very easily, and successfully fired an archer, and Tom, who held the bow, instantly regained his youth, and the pirates became jealous when they saw it. They all copied the guys and prepared to snatch the artifact in his hand, but they were all overturned by him, and the beautiful fairy messenger announced on the spot that he had been successfully reincarnated and upgraded to an immortal, and after all the hardships, Tom finally lived the life of his dreams.
This is the end of the movie. Remember, in life nothing comes easy. Thank you for watching. Like the video and subscribe to the channel.